Hi, and welcome to my channel, Laura's Library Card. Today I'm here again with a familiar face. I've dragged my husband Benjamin into another video. He and I did a bunch of Bridgerton videos together. I forced him to watch that series with me.
Shackled me right to the couch.
Yep, that's right.
Couldn't get out.
and you were on the Shadows vlog as well. So I wanted to rope Ben into more content in my channel, and so I said, I'll read you a book. So that's what I'm working on, is I've been reading to Benjamin. We chose Crazy Stupid Bromance by Lyssa Kay Adams. So this is the third book in the Bromance Book Club series. I have read the first two. Ben has not. So
it's okay. It's a romance, though, so they're all...
Yeah, I said it didn't really super matter if you hadn't read the first two books. So yeah, do you want to hold it? Thanks.
I can.
Hold it and look like Vanna White.
I guess.
So, Crazy Stupid Bromance is actually about Noah and Alexis. This is a friends to lovers situation because they've been friends for a while now, and they both secretly want more.
Yeah.
So,
Pining,
yes.
Now, are they in the other two books as characters, as like side characters?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think minimally in this first book.
Sure.
But Alexis is... Liv and Mac are the couple of the second book.
Okay.
So they brought Noah in for like hacking stuff, and
Sure.
they used Alexis because Liv was helping somebody who also had been one of those victims.
Sure.
So that's how Alexis kind of got brought in.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts so far? We're like a third of the way through.
Yeah, we are 1/3. This is the 1/3 check-in intro. It's all right. It's definitely slow burn. I know friends to lovers are one of your preferred tropes. Mm-hmm. No?
They're one of my least preferred.
Oh, well.
Well,
at least that's why I remembered it for some reason.
It's not a least. It's just sometimes it's like, why are they staying friends for so long if there's feelings? That's just my frustration, And I do like it better than a second chance romance, but this is not my top. Just because I like the tension and angst that comes with enemies to lovers. Sure. So friends to lovers is just kind of I don't know.
Sure.
So
enemies to lovers you like though.
Yes.
Okay,
it's almost the same as friends to lovers. Okay, so you feel like it's a slow going.
Yeah, I think it's slow going. I mean, we're a third of the way through the book, and we've gotten one almost sexy moment, and I'm like, what are people paying for in this book? Good Lord.
I don't read, there's varying levels of smut across all romance books, and so this one so far is not on fire.
This is correct. It's barely a smolder. It's fine. I'm hoping there's definitely much more of a focus on other... the romance is there, and it's driving it forward, but there's also other stuff driving it forward, which I guess is good. Mm-hmm. The whole thing with Alexis's father and the kidney transplant. I almost said liver transplant. I'm like, nah, that's incorrect. As well as the Liv and Max wedding from book 2. So it's all right. It's keeping me entertained so far. I'm not a huge fan of the way they're doing the flashbacks and the insert scenes. To me, it's a little jarring to be just and here's the thing, it's jarring only because I've not read the first two books. Mm-hmm. So I'm I assume either A, that these things have already been mentioned in previous books and they're just calling back to them.
No, I don't think that we saw Alexis and Noah's
story
first meeting.
At all. Okay.
No.
Is this flashback method used in other books? So at least you're a little bit more experienced, in other books in this series is what I'm talking about.
In this series, I think that this is I think flashbacks in general are common enough across literature that flashbacks really don't bother me.
Fair.
I do feel like the ones that we're getting are very short. They're
That's
very
what I'm saying. They're just
they're in the middle, and then suddenly it's a 2 paragraphs in italics, and I'm verbally, because I'm reading it out loud, saying this is the flashback moment.
Yeah. To me, it's that's something you do. I don't know. I feel like that's something that a television or a movie can do much better. And I feel like for me, it's like,
So
we're
you
in
would
this intense moment, and then like, haha, psych, now we're doing something else. And like...
So you would prefer the, like, narration to be more of, like, he thought back on his first time meeting her and remembered it being blah, 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 instead of it being, like, insert.
Or at least, like, have a more substantial flashback. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's the length of it, too. It's like, you don't actually, like... They're showing very tiny snippets, very quick, sort of, in time, and I'm just like, this, you could have
isn't necessarily needed, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just kind of whining, but...
I will say that for me, I listen to, I'd say about 50% of what I read is on audiobook format, romance as well as other genres, and the only other book I've ever read aloud that wasn't meant for someone over the age of 6 is the Shadows that we did earlier. And this is lines feel a lot cheesier when I'm saying them out loud than when I'm reading them. Like, when I listen to a romance audiobook, most of the time I don't feel like stuff is, like, particularly cheesy or particularly, like, whoo. But I'm already like, if there's going to be, like, sexy times in this book, like, how am I going to do with reading that out loud?
Good.
Something for you to look forward to. But yeah, there's definitely been a couple moments where someone says something and I'm like, I kind of like roll my eyes as I say it out loud. But like, I think that if I was listening to the audiobook or just reading in my own head, like not reading aloud to you, I think that I would not find it quite so cheesy. So that's been sort of a surprise for me.
Frankenbeans and...
Do you like me trying to do my awful Russian accent?
Not that bad, actually.
Yeah, there's a Russian character, and he doesn't have that many, like, lines, but every once in a while I'm just like...
I love that he's just a stereotypical dumb Russian character. I'm like, this could not be more stereotypical
I don't
ever,
think it is...
and it's just not a well-written character, to be honest. They're like, you could have replaced this with literally anyone, and it had a better result, but...
Yeah. So far so good? You definitely want to keep going?
Yeah, no DNFs yet, so...
Okay. So, yeah, that was our... hot take or cold take lukewarm opinion on the first third of this book, and we will tune back in after probably the next third or so of Crazy Stupid Bromance, or if there's something big and dramatic that happens, I will drag him in here and be like, so what do you think about what just happened? And yeah, so stay tuned for the next bit. Hi, and we are back to discuss the next chunk of our book, Crazy Stupid Bromance. So we are about 2/3 of the way through, and I said, it's time to stop and give another update. So, what do you think so far?
They finally... I'm not going to say it. But...
Bang?
Yeah.
You can say it. I'm not monetized.
No,
There was multiple orgasms to be had. Yes.
That is true.
Yeah. I definitely feel like one of your... complaints or frustrations with the first third of the book was that you said it felt like it was not focusing on their romance, that there was other like external conflict that was happening.
It's true.
I feel like the middle third did
flip
that, yeah. And they kind of like took a time to focus on their relationship.
Yeah.
Instead of the other drama.
And the bromance book club and what that means and all the friends coming together to get them together. That's good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're enjoying this book so far?
So far. I have a feeling that like the third act like weirdness is coming up. Like you always talk about that like third act like
drama,
tension. So
yeah,
because the where we left it. Alexa had just gotten the call back from
the transplant
center. Yeah, I was trying to think of the city name, and I was like, I have no idea. And saying she was going to be a match, and so... Which
is not really a surprise. I mean, like, how much conflict would there be in the book for them to just call and be like, yep, you're not a match, okay, bye. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's...
Yeah.
That was understood from me coming. Yeah. So what did you think about the big, like, miscommunication trope that was happening?
Garbage. It's the worst trope. It's the worst trope.
Yeah. Like I said to Ben while we were reading this, I personally, it depends on how the miscommunication happens. If it happens and it's realistic and it's he tried to communicate to her and she thought that they were communicating, but it just wasn't actually effective, like if an attempt was made, I'm a lot more understanding of that, because that happens in real life where you think you're on the same page as the other person, and then it just later you're like, I'm sorry, wait, what?
Yeah.
And like that to me can be
like when I say arcano-mechanical armor is one thing, and you think arcano
D&D. This is you're mixing hobbies here.
I apologize.
Yeah, I feel like when communication has been attempted but is not quite effective, that is realistic, can provide opportunities for tension, but also could be funny, can bring more emotional like clarity, because then you have to like reveal that. But like in this book, and how it's sometimes used is like the exact like word choice that was used in that moment just like happened, like was chosen specifically by the author to cause the problems.
Yeah.
And so it was like,
it didn't feel natural. It felt very like
yeah, if he said, wait, we should stop, instead of saying like, hold on, we should slow down. Like, I feel like either one of those statements would have been equally likely to have been said in that moment, and they had two very different connotations. And so, like, the miscommunication thing was just kind of stupid. But, I mean, like, I did like, one thing I do like, I wanted to kind of get your take on this, is because there are these elements of the, like, romance book club, there are discussions that are like, the characters in the book club saying, so miscommunication trope, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, the reason why we like romance is because we root for the character, blah, 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 blah. And so I feel like that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek way for the author to talk to the romance reader about it.
Very fourth wall breaky sort of deal.
Almost, yeah. I mean, like, what did you think about those elements?
I mean, I definitely think the miscommunication, because up until that point, the Bromance Book Club, in Noah's eyes, had been just this, like, weird thing that, like, his friends are trying to, like, muscle him into. Mm-hmm. Like, once that miscommunication happens, the Bromance Book Club actually sort of comes to the forefront and is like, okay, you need us to fix this. Mm-hmm. And so that was sort of the moment where it was like, oh, right, that's the name of the...
Yeah. I felt like with the first book of this series, the Bromance Book Club, the book had a very good parallel to like Gavin and Thea's story. Like it was like almost like too on the nose. Like he would like read a scene and it would be like very paralleling the scene that we had just read as was happening in his life. So I felt like he was really gaining a lot from reading this romance book. And that was one of my biggest critiques of book 2, was that I felt like the book club romance book discussion, friends helping each other out part just like really, especially compared to the first one, like fell flat. And so I feel like this book is kind of bringing it back for me personally, that like the guys are trying to help Noah, and the book, I don't feel like this book super is like really paralleling Noah's life, but like I really enjoying the discussions that the guys are all having in the Bromance Book Club to help Noah.
It's like the author was like, okay, this was way too on the nose for book 1, so we're not going to do anything in book 2. And then when the reviews came back about book 2, they're like, okay, crap, this has to matter again. So like, let's just, you know, it's like Papa Bear, Baby, or Mama Bear, Baby Bear, where it's like, it's just enough book club, but it's not so on the nose.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, sort of paralleling the story and...
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that might kind of come around and be a little more on the nose for the resolution, you know, later.
True. Yeah. That's true.
So... But
that's the thing. I mean, so far it hasn't been, so even if it is very like, haha, same story... Similar, yeah. At least it won't have been like that for the whole thing.
Right.
So.
Last thing I wanted to ask you is, what did you think about the sexy times?
I thought they were cheese-filled.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I will say that, like, I think listening to an audiobook performance during a sex scene, that can really... I've read them all over the map. Sometimes I'm like, this narrator's like really into this scene. And other times it's just very like almost like, okay, dude, you're making this clinical. Like, you know, I think it's hard to strike the right balance.
Sure.
And I was not trying to act this in any way. I literally was just reading it. You know, all the groans and moans and rasps and whispers. I just read straight. So, but yes, I did. It felt very cheesy to read aloud.
Yeah,
and I think that
not necessarily the content of it. It was actually like the language that was used. I feel like, and I don't know if this is standard romance book fare.
I feel like this book has more cheesiness to it than I'd say maybe many others. But this is like a contemporary, and it's like, I don't want to say poking fun of it at itself, but like being more casual.
I would say that.
Maybe.
I would say that.
Yeah. I feel like there's cheesiness in all aspects, not just in the
That's true.
bedroom aspects. There's been multiple times where I like read a line and I'm like, really? And so if that's happening just, in the outside of the bedroom, then like it's not really that surprising, I guess, that it's happening in the bedroom too. So
but yeah, it's fine.
That was fine.
Yeah, they're like rabbits right now. It's like, okay.
This is how most romance books go, is that like as soon as they like are like, I have feelings, and then it's like sexy time starts, it's just like literally like again and again and again and again, and like they're like, we have obligations, but let's sneak off, and it's like they just,
where'd Joe Schmo and Jane Schmo go?
Yeah.
Oh, so
and like Noah's like, give me 20 minutes, and then they have 3 lines of dialogue, and then they're going again. I was like, it's been about 2, sir. Like, so.
You get a headache.
Are you excited for the last bit?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good mix of the romance. What I'm hoping is it's going to be a good mix of external conflict and the.
So the internal conflict would be the romance and something,
Sure.
Another miscommunication
Sure.
or another problem between them,
Sure.
and then the external conflict I think is going to happen with all this transplant stuff.
Sure.
But
yeah, but I think it's
I hope the internal conflict will be not stupid, because they already had such a big miscommunication part, and so I'm hoping that the internal conflict between the two of them is satisfying or makes sense at least.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
All right. We'll tune back in at the end for our final thoughts.
Woo!
Okay. You're holding the book upside down.
Yeah, well.
It's late. It's late. We
Upside
stayed up
down
late
and backwards
to finish this book. But we finished. We finished Crazy Stupid Bromance. I finished reading it to him. Does my voice sound weird?
No.
Oh, okay. So what did you think?
It hit a little different in the third act.
Oh?
It hit, there was a lot of feels, there was a lot of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we both went through that.
I definitely cried.
Yeah, choked up. I was stoic, ice cold. I was fine the whole time.
You did the manly glistening one tear, and I was over there being like,
yeah, because I was pretending to be on my phone because I was bawling.
Oh, okay. So did it packed more of a punch than you thought it was going to?
Yeah, no. I didn't think it was going to be all my dead and such spoilers.
Well, I mean, it's not a spoiler that Noah's dad is dead, but
sure.
And I don't feel like it's much of a spoiler either to say that he's finally having to deal with those feelings.
Yeah, but specifically the letter that.
That's a spoiler.
Yeah.
So,
so I don't know, and the whole father-daughter moment with Elliot and Alexis at the grave and stuff.
Yeah. So did you think it was done well, pulled off?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a titanic amount of cheese throughout the book. Cheesier than most, I'd say, but not that I have a great, experience with romance novels, but it was
I said this, I think, in an earlier clip, that I feel like a lot of this book is very cheesy. Not necessarily in a bad way. I think that in a couple spots, the cheesiness is really used for humor, like with Noah's friends, with the guys. Like, it definitely is it's really almost okay.
This is...
this is rough. But I think it's supposed to be for humor and levity. And yeah. So, I mean, so I was frustrated with the third act internal conflict, the fight between Noah and Alexis, just because it was very classic, misunderstanding gets blown out of proportion and they both say things they don't mean to say, and then stomp
Guess
away.
what? Yeah. And go to their respective corners and resolve their own internal issues they've had throughout the entire book, and then suddenly everything comes back together and everything's hunky dory.
I also sort of felt like the whole subplot of like the zoning issues, was like Alexis had enough BS to wade through with this.
Yeah.
With the Vanderpools, that she really didn't like necessarily need to have this other subplot. I mean, yes, it was her kind of like being like, no, I'm not going to let. It was like a moment of like justice, which is like obviously important to both Noah and Alexis, where she was like I'm doing what's right, and she called out this Karen. So,
I mean, I also think it was sort of that moment to like wake her up, is there was a moment during her exchange with Elliot where she's like, I haven't really been like, it's not forgiveness, it's just I'm numbing myself to stuff. And so that moment in the zoning board committee meeting is her moment to be like, oh yeah, no, hold on, let me feel something. So
yeah,
I don't know, I think you played it with that. I think it was...
Beefcake dropped out of the story. Like,
That's
with
true.
how much he was, and with, like, the fact that he gets the cover.
That's true.
He kind of drops out. I wish that, like, he would have been in the epilogue or something. Just, like, a little bit to help tie it through. Yeah. So what did you think of our characters?
I thought they were okay. It definitely has that... like romance series vibe where it's like other people from previous books are definitely here and relevant, but they're not like at all the main focus. Because now I feel like I'm attached to these two characters, and then the next book, it's spoiler, the fourth book is about the Russian.
That's not a spoiler. That's on the internet.
Whatever. Shut up.
So you would be interested in Vladimir's story?
No, you're gonna pre-order it. We're gonna do it live, or so, I don't know. Maybe not live. Maybe not live.
Maybe we could get the audiobook and listen to it together, because I don't want to read a whole other book to you quite so soon. Give it some time. The last one we did was like November. Okay, so I think that every 5 months is doable. Maybe 3 a year. I liked Alexis's character, but I had some frustrations with Noah's character. I felt like ultimately he does have some character arc and growth and development, but I was frustrated because it just felt like at every turn Noah was just like, like he was just like whiny, like, and he just was like,
my dad's dead.
Okay, like I didn't mean like, oh, my dad's dead whine. I just meant that he was just like, shut up, guys! Like, how dare you try to help me? And then it's like every turn he was just like, what the shit is this, man? And I was just like,
oh, see, now okay, well, we disagree on that, but that's okay.
I don't know. I don't know. And like, because it's cheesy and I get this, but like, Noah's also like, he's a genius, and he's hot, and he's tall, and he's scruffy, and he's got the chiseled jawline, and it's like, I guess it's okay that his personality needed a little work, in my opinion, because he was like otherwise too perfect. He was like her best friend. He was always there for her. He always did what she wanted, him to do. Like, he was just too like sweet, but like whiny. I don't know. He annoyed me a little bit. But do you have any further thoughts? And what is your overall rating?
No, I think it's funny. I didn't mention this in the second bit where it would have been relevant, but the fact they did Elliot and Lauren with the Friends bit.
We were on a break.
I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know, like a 3.5, I guess.
Like a 3.5. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought that you were gonna rate it higher than that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Laura is notorious for being very critical with her reviews. What?
No, I didn't know where you were going with this. I was like,
did you not trust me to be honest and truthful?
Well, I have editing power. I can just edit this out.
It's true.
No, I go ahead. You have
no, and I feel like even though I would.
I asked for your rating, not what you thought my rating was going to be.
Well, no, I'm just not necessarily what what your rating would be. What my rating would be if I actually took a step back and was actually critical like you were.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're landing on 3.5
Yeah.
by looking at like a critical.
Yeah. I also feel like that you've told me in the past that like 3.5 is kind of your like bog standard for like a decent book, and I'm like, this isn't gonna win any awards, but it's all right. I did not hate my time having it read to me.
Well, that was because you got to listen to me and my dulcet tones. Especially while I was like, as a letter from his dad.
Snot dripping.
I would kind of agree with a 3.5. I haven't given it. We finished this book like literally 10 minutes ago, so it maybe
He threw me into the room.
Kind of.
We're not going to bed.
Yeah, I was like, it's late. We're reacting to this right now. I think the 3.5 is good for me right now. I think maybe later I might reflect on it a little bit more and adjust, but probably not. I still enjoyed the experience. I feel like it was well constructed as a piece of literature. I felt like there was some plot development, character development. All the key components were there. So yeah, I would.
Now, see, I have a question. The celebrity chef guy, who's like a big focus in book 2.
Yeah.
Is he in book 1?
No.
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in book.
He wasn't really even like in book 2, other than like.
Because we did read the blurb for the 4th book, and we're like, oh, this is getting into like action rom-com.
Yeah, spy
territory.
Like on the run.
KGB stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna fit that into that.
I think
series.
that they just really were trying to use the already laid out groundwork for Alexis's character in this book.
Fair.
So
okay, that was it.
Okay, so overall ratings, we seem to agree on a 3.5 for now, and thank you for listening to our very long rambles, and let us know down in the comments if you would potentially be interested in more tag team vlogging / reviews of content. Don't shake your head. I'm going to drag you in here. If you have read this book, or if you've read other Lyssa Kay Adams books, also leave that down in the comments. If we definitely totally missed the point on something, if we definitely should have mentioned something that was a major plot point in this book, or if I totally misremembered the plot of book 2, which I read last summer, I think, also feel free to correct us down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Penis. Cut that.
No, it's staying in. That's a blooper. Come on.
No, it's... Cut that.
No.
Cut it.
No.